Good afternoon and welcome back. I'm Lincoln Vuong from Husky News with your story. We just received reports from a fellow consulting group hired by Sherwin-Williams regarding a new story developing. Apparently, a source within the organization has reported high turnover rates within Sherwin-Williams that is due to upper management as well as poor working environments. We're here to investigate and report on the matter. Here's Drew Boyd in the field covering the story. What do you have for us, Drew?
Hey Lincoln, I'm currently outside the University Village Sherwin-Williams paint store where some of these issues you were talking about are occurring. I was able to sit down with one of the employees to gather some more information, which we can take a look at now.
So thank you, Zach, for being here.
Of course.
We have, there's been a report that there's a high turnover rate within Sherwin-Williams stores due to employee unsatisfaction. Do you happen to notice this high turnover rate within your store or other stores in the area?
Well, recently I've noticed like an increase in part-time employee turnover in the Seattle district, so yeah, I would say.
You yourself or other employees at your store, would you say you're happy, unhappy? How does that, what are you guys feeling?
So recently we had a manager take over, and I would say most of our employees here are pretty unhappy because of the new management.
So what kind of employees work here? Students, I guess I'm talking more demographics type.
Okay, so most of our part-time employees are students, and then management are mainly like middle-aged that have been in the company for like 10 years plus.
So what do you believe is this cause for the high turnover rate that this report is talking about?
So mainly I'd see it as the part-time students finding other jobs in the summer, so it's like a cycle mainly.
So as you can see, there definitely is a high turnover rate with employees at the Sherwin-Williams stores, but the reasoning is still unknown. This is definitely an interesting story that I think we can delve into more this week. With that being said, this is Drew Boyd with Husky News. Back to you in the studio.
Wow, thank you, Drew, for that insight. In order to look more into the matter, we received reports and data analysis on surveys that were given to various Sherwin-Williams branches by the consulting group. They created and handed out surveys to 3 different store locations: University Village, Ballard, and the West Seattle branch. These surveys contain 8 questions designed to test the employee's job satisfaction, allowing them to answer questions on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being strongly disagree and 5 being strongly agree. Here this consulting team will give us a little more in-depth look about the subject data.
Question 1. Sherwin-Williams creates a positive and supportive work environment. To begin, the graph clearly indicates that employees at all locations felt they are working in a positive and supportive work environment. This illustrates that the high turnover rate we are looking into is not caused by any sort of interpersonal issues or the environment they are working in. The 4th question on the survey was whether the employee felt that they were rewarded based on the quality of their efforts. The employees we surveyed mostly answered that they were not. This promotes a transactional psychological contract, meaning they are only motivated to be there by the pay. This has the lowest level of company commitment and may explain the low retention rate of talented employees at the company. Question 5. I am motivated to see the company succeed. We can see that if we count the impartials as more on the side of disagree, more than half of the employees are not motivated to see the company succeed, which can be a major concern as a manager. This could be due to their motivation as well as commitment within the organization. On the other side, the rest of the employees who were surveyed said they agree that they would like to see the company succeed. But it's also important to note that none who were surveyed said that they strongly agree. So it seems Sherwin-Williams employees are happy with their work environment, but they see it as a means to an end or just don't see a future or long-term plan for their careers there. Question 7 of our survey asks if the employees are satisfied with their position within the company. The data shows that the majority of employees were not satisfied, and the few positive answers were attributed to one specific store location. This indicates that the turnover rate is likely due to the job position itself rather than the culture and atmosphere at Sherwin-Williams. All other questions had skewed results, and we were not able to make any assumptions based on those results.
Wow, thank you for that analysis. We now have one of the leading expert consultants, Stafford, on the line. Hopefully he is able to provide a conclusion as well as a solution for Sherwin-Williams on this matter and help us make sense of this organizational issue. Mitchell, what do you have for us?
In conclusion, the data that we collected did not prove the hypothesis that the reason Sherwin-Williams stores have a high employee turnover rate is because of low employee satisfaction with the company. Instead, the data suggests that employees of the paint giant have a transactional psychological contract, which is commonly paired with a continuous commitment. Sherwin-Williams also seems to do very little to attain a higher psychological contract with its employees. The transactional type of psychological contract is one in which employee and employer see the extent of their relationship as simply a means to an end. The employee is there to make a paycheck, while the employer pays the employee for a fair compensation of work. It is a very simple relationship type and does not suggest any sort of long-term commitment from either the employee or the employer. A continuous commitment means the employees are staying there because they need to, but not because they feel like they ought to or because they have any sort of commitment to the company as a whole. In my expert opinion, I believe this is why we are seeing a higher turnover rate within the company. As seen in the data, there seems to be a more positive or negative skew depending on the location of the store. The employees at the University Village store seem to be happier with their jobs on average than that of the Ballard store. This is likely to do with the manager of each store location and is something that I think Sherwin-Williams should look into. My initial solution for Sherwin-Williams based on these results would be to try and change the psychological contract from a transactional one to a relational contract. From the employer's perspective, Sherwin-Williams should provide more training, career development, and long-term job security to its employees. In doing so, the employees will feel a higher obligation to participate in the organization's function as a whole and to see the organization succeed. Overall, Sherwin-Williams can combat their high employee turnover through transforming the job from a simple sales clerk to a more integral part of the company with plenty of rewards and opportunities.